Hello everyone, this is Doman Singh Thakur, and today we are going to start with the third chapter of science for class 8, in which we are going to study about air. So let's start the class. So what is air? Air is present all around us, or we can say that we are surrounded by air, and we cannot see it, but we can feel it. And we know that air is actually necessary for all living organisms for their survival because we require air for breathing, and we cannot imagine our life without air even for a few minutes. So your today's activity will be that you have to find out all the activities which are influenced by air, like the temperature of the earth, falling of rain, dispersal of seed, and other activities which are influenced or which cannot happen without the help of air. So these are some of the activities which I have highlighted, and you have to find out the similar kind of activities which gets influenced by air, and you have to prepare a list of it in your copy. Now, what is atmosphere? So as we already know that air is a mixture of gases. So now let's see what are the main components of air are. So as you can see here, about 78% of our atmosphere comprises of nitrogen, which is represented as N2. N over here is representing a single atom of nitrogen, whereas this N2 symbol is representing the molecule of nitrogen. Similarly, about 21% of our atmosphere is composed of oxygen, which is represented as O2. Again, here the symbol O is for denoting the atom of oxygen, and the symbol O2 is for denoting the molecule of oxygen. And in the similar manner, 0.9% of our atmosphere is composed of argon, and 0.04% water vapor, and 0.03% carbon dioxide, and the rest of the atmosphere comprises of sulfur dioxide and other gases along with the dust particles. As you can see here, the atmosphere is composed of several gases, water vapor, dust particles, etc. The important gases are nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, hydrogen, ozone, etc. By volume, nitrogen is 78% and oxygen about 21%. Together, this two gases makes 99% volume of the atmosphere, and the remaining 1% are many other gases which are very less in volume, but they are also important to us. Now, nitrogen is used by the plants for their survival, but plants cannot take nitrogen directly from the air. Therefore, they need bacteria that live in the soil, which takes nitrogen from the air and change it in the forms which can be used by the plants. Now, oxygen is vital for the survival of humankind, and nitrogen is vital for plant life and in turn for animal life. As we already know that green plants use carbon dioxide to make their food, and in turn they release oxygen. Now, the ozone protects us from the ultraviolet rays of the sun, whereas the dust particles, which becomes the base for the water vapor to rest upon, and thus they form the layer of cloud which gives us rainfall. Now, talking about ozone layer is actually found above the earth's surface at about 16 to 23 kilometer distance. Now, three atoms of oxygen combine to form one ozone molecule. This layer blocks the harmful ultraviolet rays, and thus ozone layer helps in protecting us from skin cancer. So let's see this with an animation that how ozone layer actually protect us from this harmful UV radiation. 15 to 35 km above the earth's surface, a gas called ozone surrounds the planet. The ozone layer acts as a barrier between the earth and the UV radiation from sun. However, pollution on earth has caused ozone layer to deplete, exposing life on earth to dangerous radiations. Earth atmosphere is made up of 6 layers. The second layer, called stratosphere, contains the ozone layer. The ozone layer is made up of a highly reactive molecule called ozone, which contains 3 oxygen atoms. Ozone is a trace gas in the atmosphere. That is, there are only about 3 molecules for every 10 million molecules of air. But it does a very important job. The ozone layer acts as a earth sun screen. That is, it absorbs about 98% of damaging ultraviolet ray or UV light. So now let's learn about oxygen. We are all acquainted with the importance of oxygen in our life. That is how essential it is for the survival of living being. That's why it is referred as life-giving gas. So now let's come and try to understand or try to learn about the preparation of oxygen in laboratory, as well as we will be also seeing about the properties and uses of oxygen. So starting with the method of preparation of oxygen in laboratory, here the material we will be requiring are the stand, heating apparatus, thick glassed test tube, rubber tube, trough, 2 test tubes, and cork, cotton, and potassium permanganate. So let's see a animation about this particular required apparatus. So here we are going to need apparatus like the test tubes, gas jar, trough filled with water, the delivery tube, the rubber stopper, the clamp stand for holding test tubes, then burner, then potassium permanganate. So here you can see in the picture, this is potassium permanganate. Now what we have to do, we have to take about 2 to 3 grams of potassium permanganate in the thick glass test tube. So, and we have to arrange the apparatus as given in this figure. So as you can see, we have taken KMnO4 inside the test tube, and we are collecting O2, that is oxygen, inside another test tube. Now heat the test tube and collect the gas formed in a test tube which is filled with water and kept inverted. So as you can see in the previous diagram, that in one of the test tube the oxygen gas is getting collected, which is actually immersed, which test tube is actually immersed inside the water. Now in the next step, to prepare this or to have this particular setup, what we have to do, we have to fill the test tube full with water. Then now we have to close the mouth of the test tube with our finger as shown in the figure. Then make it stand inverted in a trough filled with water, again as you can see in the figure. Then after that, we have to see to it that the water does not spill out when our thumb is removed. Then now the test tube is filled with gas, let the gas escape. Now whatever unnecessary gas or air is present inside that particular test tube, let it get out, because we do not want that particular gas to be present inside that test tube. Now let the test tube remain like that. Now we do not do any experiment with this gas which was previously present inside the test tube, because it contains some air along with the gas. So what we are requiring over here, we are requiring the presence of oxygen, which will be actually found when we will be starting to heat KMnO4. So now collect the liberated gas that is liberated on the decomposition of KMnO4 in the test tube and put a cork on it. This collected gas is oxygen. So now I am providing you one more animation to show that how the decomposition of KMnO4 actually liberates oxygen. So now let's see the decomposition of KMnO4. So first of all, let us burn the Bunsen burner, and now we will be taking KMnO4 in a test tube. And for confirming our result, that is for confirming the presence of oxygen, first of all we will get a splint to glow. Now we will be taking the KMnO4 which we have taken in the test tube, and we will be heating it up. So as soon as we will be starting to heat it up, it will start to decompose, means it will start to break down in its products. As you can see, it has started to decompose. Now if we will be inserting this splint inside the test tube, then the splint starts to glow, which confirms the presence of oxygen on heating of KMnO4 or on decomposition of KMnO4. As you know that the oxygen supports burning. That's why, as you can see, when we insert the splint inside the test tube, it starts to glow. So here we have confirmed that on decomposition of KMnO4, oxygen gas is released. So now we can see that potassium permanganate will decompose into potassium magnate and manganese dioxide and oxygen gas on decomposition. So this has been represented here with the help of chemical equation. As you can see that 2 molecules of potassium permanganate decomposes into potassium manganate, manganese dioxide and oxygen. So this is the required result for our experiment. Now we have to take the following precautions while performing this experiment. That is, while preparing oxygen from potassium permanganate, a plug of cotton must be put in the hard glass test tube, and the test tube should be continuously shaken. Otherwise, potassium permanganate may spring up into the test tube in which oxygen is being collected.